for joining us this evening to discuss My Secretly Jewish Italian Grandmother by Carolyn Ariella Sophia. It sounds like she has three first names, but she doesn't. Sophia is a common family name in Italy, but to avoid confusion, I'll just call her Carolyn, because if I switch back and forth between Carolyn and Sophia, it's going to be crazy. Before we break into our groups, let's start with a brief introduction to the article. If you haven't had time to read it, that's okay. There's something in this story for everyone, so please stay for the breakouts and join in the conversations. We want to hear your voice and your story. Carolyn's autobiographical story starts in the summer of 1959 when she was about 9. Carolyn's mother has given her the job of helping her grandmother, her mother's mother, with writing letters to family and old friends. Carolyn writes as her grandmother dictates. Carolyn's grandmother and grandfather live in a basement apartment in her family's Long Island home. This separate apartment allows Carolyn and her grandmother to spend time together after the letters are written and set aside, without her mom knowing what they talk about. What they talk about, what Carolyn asks about, is her grandmother's early life in the old Jewish quarter of Venice, the Ghetto Vecchio. This arrangement also allows her grandmother to teach Carolyn songs and prayers in Hebrew, something that would not have been acceptable upstairs in Carolyn's now Catholic American household. So how did her family become Catholic? When Carolyn's grandmother and her infant daughter, Carolyn's mom, immigrated to the US and settled in New York in the late 1930s, Italian Catholic neighborhoods, shops, and schools were already well established. The adult Carolyn tells us, in those days, Yiddish-speaking Jews had plenty of company in America. Italian-speaking Jews were a tiny percentage of the population, even in Italy, and were again greatly outnumbered in America by Catholic Italians. That's how my grandmother got lost, along with everyone else and the next generations. In other words, Carolyn's grandmother and her family assimilated when they came to America, first into the larger and more established Catholic Italian community, and then into broader American society. Carolyn tells us that growing up, she had two identities. She was outwardly Catholic, but Jewish in her heart. When she was with Jewish friends, their conversations sometimes made her feel like a Catholic outsider. Yet when she was with Christian friends, a voice inside told her that she was Jewish. In her 20s and 30s, Carolyn set out on a journey to discover who she really was. She followed a path many of us have. She attended services, took classes, visited Israel, and in the end found herself and her community in Judaism. Toward the end of the article, the adult Carolyn mentions a correspondence with Cynthia Ozick, a prominent Jewish American author. The core of their correspondence was about the term half Jewish, sometimes used to refer to a person who has one Jewish parent, which is true of Carolyn Sophia. Ozick insists that Carolyn was not half Jewish or half anything. She tells her, "You are what you have chosen to be. Identity runs in the brain, not in the blood." In the breakouts, we will have a chance to discuss our experiences and feelings about the term half Jewish, as well as other topics such as dual identity and family secrets that are sparked by the article. Please join in and share your thoughts and experiences with the rest of us. Lillian will take over from here and break us into smaller groups. When she brings us back together after 30 minutes, we'll ask a representative from each group to share one or two observations or perspectives from their group's discussions. Thank you, Lillian.
Yeah. You were assigned to a room you didn't want to go? Gail?
I don't know. Was I assigned a room?
Yeah, you were.
I didn't get a note or anything. I've just been seeing people flash by.
Yeah, me neither. I did not get any.
You didn't,
Okay.
I didn't assign you.
Okay.
Can you send me back?
I can send you back.
Thank you. And Risa Davids wanted to know if she could be in my group.
All right, let me see if I can do that. I don't guarantee.
Okay. Well, it's more important that I get there.
Yeah, it says that you're here, so that's just. You have not joined, but you are. You should be able to. Do you have anything that tells you you can go to breakout room 5?
No, I have no messages.
How bizarre.
Yeah, and I can't put her into like 4 and then maybe bring her back to 5. How about that?
Okay, yeah, try
I'm
doing
gonna,
that.
I'm gonna
Do I need
put
to
her in-
click on something? Doesn't it usually?
No. Let me move you. Okay, let's try that. We'll move you to 4 and then try to bring it back to 5.
Okay, and then I'm gonna go get.
Okay,
her.
I'm joining 4.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, and then Gail,
Okay.
I'll move her to 5.
All right, and I'll see if I can, and I'll move reset to 5.
Okay. Did I screw up on setting up the rooms or something?
I'm not exactly sure what happened. It just was odd. Okay, so Evie and Jamie, did you want to go to a room?
Evie and Jamie, you need to unmute yourself so we can talk to you. They might be on their phone. Oh,
Okay, that may be.
and I see Jamie actually in room 3,
All right, so,
but she hasn't joined. That's why.
okay.
You know, you think this would go like really smoothly, but
So
Yeah.
the mistake that I made was that one of the facilitators didn't want somebody in their room. So I assigned them to a different room so that it didn't let me just,
Yeah, yeah,
I then needed to have to move everybody to rooms.
okay. I don't want to even ask who that was.
It doesn't matter.
We're recording. Yeah,
It
we're
just, yeah,
recording.
it's just bizarre. Okay, so
Okay.
when do we stop this? Then it took me,
30 minutes, right?
yeah.
It was 30 minutes. Okay. Does it have, it doesn't even have a countdown. Usually it has a countdown. Do you see a countdown?
I do not see a countdown. Let me close this
7:50. Okay, 7:50.
and let's go back to breakout rooms. Yeah, it's not giving me,
Yeah, I'm not. Okay, so it's 7:50. We can just approximate it.
yeah.
You know what? Yeah, I need more practice on breakout rooms too, because it just, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I'm doing something wrong. And I think it's the breakout options. But
Yeah.
when do you do the break? Somehow when you assign everybody and then you do the breakout options, correct?
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
But it's also how it gets set up at the beginning, you know?
Was it already set up, by the way, Lillian, was it already
It was already
when
set up
you-
that we had room. Yes, that we already had set up for 8 rooms, I think it was.
Okay, I should have taken that out too. I should have taken that out the other day because we didn't know how many people, we had a feeling that weren't going to be that many people.
Yeah.
But hi, Norma.
How are you doing?
You're on mute. Would you like to go to a breakout room?
I am on mute. I'm sorry I got involved in something, didn't realize how late it was.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Everybody's in the rooms talking about the article, so if it's okay, I'll send you to one of the rooms.
Sure.
Okay.
Room 2 has hardly, and well, doesn't have that many people.
All right, so let's move to room 2.
Thank you, Norma.
Thanks.
Yeah, way too many in room 4.
Yeah, well,
It's the other part of it is you can't see how it's divided. Yeah, whatever. So the
You know what?
advantage of having them sign it, except for that you still don't know if they're going to show up. I say the advantage of having them sign up on Zoom ahead of time is that you could then place them into rooms and not worry about it here.
I agree, but you know what, at the planning committee, we were talking about that because in my world, I would have Zoom registration in every event, but they felt, and it's true that people would get mixed up.
Yeah,
So-
well, there's, yeah, because that, except for this, it probably.
Yeah. Hi, Elise, you want to unmute yourself? Elise, hi.
Hi.
Yeah, you're muted. Yeah, okay.
Oh,
Were you in a room or you just came in?
no, I just came in.
Okay, they're in the breakout rooms right now. Do you want to go into a breakout room and discuss the article?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll move you to a breakout room.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Well, okay, there she went.
Good. Yeah, there she is. And then I forgot to hit record until,
It used to record it at the perfect time when she started talking. It was
okay, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I put a big sign on the top of my computer, record. I always forget.
Yeah. Well, it's obvious that a lot of us, well, not yourself, but a lot of us need more hands-on practice on breakout rooms and sharing the
Well,
screens.
I do too, because even if you think that you know it, we can stop recording now until they
Oh.
come back. Welcome, everybody. I'm sorry your room was so big. I
Oh,
hope
we
you got-
we had a great room.
Okay, good.
Good.
Good. I was just worried that I put too many people there, Linda. As long as the conversation was good, I'm happy.
Yeah, it's a great article. It's just an excellent article to be discussing.
Okay, I think we are all back.
Okay.
All right, Gail, back to you.
I hope everybody's discussion was as good as group 5's because it was excellent. Who's the representative from group 1 who would like to just briefly share a couple of things that you talked about or figured out or thought about? Group 1?
That would be Margie.
You're muted, Margie.
Margie.
I wasn't sure what our number was. So that was my- I was the last one to get in there. And so I don't know about the rest of it. Our discussion was really interesting in that it just kind of flowed. Joanne asked the first question, did Carolyn's mother know? And from there, it just flowed into, some people thought perhaps, but that she didn't really want to know, so she didn't really engage. I didn't read the article, so I can't comment on that, but we also asked, did anybody hide being Jewish? And there was a variety of different responses from people, mostly from the teachers in the group, who said that they didn't necessarily say that they were Jewish, but when holidays came up and stuff, they had no problem explaining it to their kids, and for the most part they were fine with it. Some of us went to college after being raised in very Jewish communities and met people from other states who had never met Jews in their lives. So that was kind of interesting. And then we talked about, what do you think of being half Jewish, half anything? And the discussion, was really about if you are, you are, and there's nothing half about it. I mean, if one parent is and one parent isn't, but you were raised following Jewish traditions, then you are. So that was basically it.
Great, thank you. And by the way, I think it's awesome that there was a question and then the discussion just flowed off of the page. That's the ideal. Group 2.
I don't know what number.
That's
That
Maddie.
was Bobby. That
Is
was
that you,
Bobby.
Maddie?
Is there,
Bobby Landau,
Okay.
yeah.
okay, so we started with the question about how, the grandmother told the granddaughter secrets and such. And so what questions people would have liked to have asked their family members. And just about everybody had questions. I was really interested in where either grandparents or great grandparents, what countries they came from. It always makes me feel good to know that we're here to talk about where they came from and that we survived. So we had Prussia, Poland, Russia, Ukraine. And I knew my grandparents came from Bobrusk in Russia, White Russia, and Germany, and her father was born in Shanghai, which is interesting. then one person who had Orthodox grandparents, family very Jewish, conservative shul. She knew she was Jewish, but when she heard about and read the rabbi who wrote Woman's Commentary with WRJ, it just totally changed her life. I thought that was a big highlight, that her name was Tamra Ashkenaz,
Ashkenazi.
and
Tomorrow.
WRJ made a difference, and
Okay,
that rabbi was just so outstanding about 4 years ago.
yes. Thank you very much, Bobby. Group 3,
Robin?
Yes, yes,
I
I
think-
know. I'm unmuting.
Okay, thank you so much.
Sure. So in our group, let's see, first we talked about people that we would have liked to have asked questions of that we're not able to now, who died. And so several of us talked about our grandparents. Some never knew their grandparents. They had died either when they were very young or before they were born. So we did talk a little bit about that. Obviously in the story, the author had this, wonderful connection with a grandparent that some of us felt we didn't get to have that and learn from them. We talked about family secrets and some shared family secrets. And in fact, and one of them that was shared was about the fact that one of the people in the family was not Jewish and nobody knew. And so that obviously had some ramifications. But after so much time, I think it doesn't change anything really. But there, that was like the opposite of the story, someone who wasn't Jewish pretending to be Jewish. We kind of talked about that, like how did they do that? But this was from a long time ago, all of this happening. And so the women back then, they probably didn't go to religious school. So it's not like you had to know how to read Hebrew or something. We talked a little bit about half Jewish, and I think the general sense was that's just not something we hear today. But I certainly recall many, many years ago, maybe in the time frame of this story, that was a thing that you might hear many, many years ago. But today, the feeling is people are just way more accepting of, you decide what you are. And that's how other people will accept that too.
great, thank you. Group 4 representative?
I'm
What
not-
who is your group 4?
Is
Sean?
Linda the facilitator? If so, then I'm the person to share.
Carol's on, she knows.
Okay.
She's ready.
Great. Well, we actually never got to the questions. We just started talking, and we talked about the fact that both Italian and Jewish groups are very similar attitudes, family celebrations, good food, and how, the close-knit family kind of idea. We mentioned how much that was such a sweet relationship that the grandchild had with her grandmother, and how nice it was. Some of us had relationships that were like that. And we did talk a little bit about the idea of labeling, and just talked a lot about discrimination. And we got into a talk about Orthodox, particularly in Israel, and discrimination related to that. and who's considered Jewish, and why that labeling was so important. And we also talked about the embarrassment of having a small religion that could be so prejudiced, when you just don't have that many members anyway. We also talked, I think it was a nice way to kind of end the idea of, as a grandparent, we felt there was a sense of hope that we could have some influence on our grandchildren, and the idea that we can share our share Judaism with our grandkids, and have that kind of influence hopefully on the family, and how important that having that community and feeling that sense of community is.
Good job, Kara.
Great, thank you. Janet, group 5. Janet, you're muted.
Goodness, okay. Here I are. We just got, it was the question, do you have a story about a family secret? And the majority of the people in the group actually did, and some were more than one. I'm going to just kind of generalize about those secrets. They seem to, I'm not going to tell about secrets.
Okay.
No, I won't tell about secrets.
Okay.
I'm just going to generalize the idea behind them. Most of the secrets caused a great deal of pain in the family, or in that person who was keeping the secret. And some were able to talk about it eventually, and some were not. It was interesting that a couple of them, the secrets, were found out about after the death of the person who had the secret, and somehow it just came out. Secrets caused conflict in the families and pain, a lot of pain in the families. Someone mentioned that there were more secrets in families in previous generations than there are now. I'm not entirely sure about that. I think there are secrets in families now that are going to be found out in the future. But the conflict and the pain was typical of all of the secrets. So anything else anyone in 5 would like to say?
No, you did a great job. Thank you, Janet. Okay. Thank you, everybody. We're going to shift back to Shari for a close.
Okay, but thank you, Gail, for leading us in such a great inspirational experience. Hopefully, if any of you are interested to share the Lilith Salon program with your sisterhood, I'm going to share my screen again, and Gail's information will be there, and also Jenny. So if you would like to contact them for more information. I also put on the chat the links for tomorrow morning, which will be the guided meditation that starts at 8:30 till 9, and then our opening gathering at 9:15. So thank you so much for everybody joining us tonight. Here is Gail's information, and good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Gail.
Awesome.
Thank you
Thank
all.
you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
you.
Good night.
Program.
Bye, Linda.
Thank you.
Linda. Bye-bye, Linda.
Thanks for leaving that up.
Not a problem.
long enough so I could write it down.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Sleep
Deborah.
well.
Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Oh, Karen, I'm so glad your mom was able to join us too tonight.
Yes, me too.
Thank you, Sherry, for making it so easy.
Oh, thank you, Joanne. Sorry that there was a hiccup on the breakout rooms, but
No, not at all. It flowed so well.
Hey, Sherry, you want to
had to
stop
ask
your
the first-
recording?
oh, yes, that would be a nice idea. Shoot.
Otherwise, you got to edit it so much later.
Yeah, sorry.